Hello and welcome to Minimise Debt, Maximise Cash with Top Service, where each episode we will give you tips on how to maximise your cash and minimise your debt in the construction industry. My name is Emma Reilly, Top Services CEO, Fellow of the Chartered Institute of Credit Management and current Advisory Council member representing trade credit. In this episode, Paula Swain of Kerns Legal Services tells the attendees of our webinar how to get ready legally to charge late payment interest. The questions are asked by Philip King, our Non-Executive Director, and this is taken from a joint webinar we ran with the CICM about charging statutory late payment interest.
Paula, if we can come back to you, what should companies consider from a legal perspective before adopting a policy of imposing late payment charges?
I think it's what the whole group has been talking about here, which is the commercial objectives and the internal stakeholders and what they want to try to achieve. I think it's always best to educate before a problem, and so if you can get all of these things put into your terms and conditions, that's always my preferred route, which is the Fleetwood Mac approach, as I said earlier on. Get it set out there. So that you can then educate all of those stakeholders in the business and say, look, this is part of our, the cost. If we lose payment here from our principal invoices, that's hitting our bottom line. It's common in the industry for people to pursue interest, late payment compensation and charges, and there's an act which actually says that we're entitled to this. So if we don't include it in our terms and conditions and do it the way we want to do it, we're kind of cutting our nose off a bit here. So it's understood out there that if there is late payment, it's going to incur interest and costs. Why shouldn't we get on board and do it the way that helps us as a business?
Okay, thank you. You're a lawyer, so you get involved often at the tail end of debts when things are becoming more contentious. What difficulties can arise when you're pursuing those charges through the legal process?
Again, it's disputes because of not knowing that the entitlement is there. I think Alicia was mentioning earlier on that collection stage. It runs the whole way through the process, unfortunately. So we come to issue the letter for action or the proceedings, and then the defence comes back saying these charges are not payable, and we have to go through the costs and the process of explaining those. So that can be a challenge because it delays recovery of the debt, it delays getting a default judgment, for example. That's one example, Philip.
Okay, thank you. Nicola, any other difficulties that you've seen when you've gone further than just the internal?
No, I think when we get to a stage where we maybe receive a defence, it could be something else other than the charges. We have had a couple of disputes historically where it's been passed to a HCO and the charges there, which fine, that does need to be illustrated. It does need to be clearly identified to the customer. But I think from what we've said here, I think that the challenges more so are not once they've been charged. It's that point of actually moving your business to be able to charge those charges. You are able to do it. It's just encouraging the business to say that this is what we want to do because it has an effective way of bringing our DSO collections, etc. in. So from my perspective, I think once you start doing it, it's just adapting your business and your processes internally. And the only thing I would say across the board is just that education of everybody from the commercial, all stakeholders, the customers. As soon as you can mention it, it sounds awful really, but as soon as you can put that in there of, okay, if you don't pay us within the next 7 days, Bob the Builder, this is what could happen. I think it then forearms and allows that collection to run a little bit more smoothly.
This episode is an extract from our recent webinar about charging statutory interest. Philip King asked the questions and Paula Swain, one of our members, are providing the answers. If any terms don't make sense, such as the Fleetwood Mac approach, please subscribe to the podcast and go back a couple of episodes to where Paula sets out the historical context of charging statutory interest.